Welcome to Overlanding from home. My name is Anton. I'm an avid overlander, lover of nature, and humanitarian by heart. The past while, I've always been interested in the outdoors, and I want to hear about other people's experiences and their rigs. Yes, the big rigs, the small rigs, everything they've done to design them and how they plan it. I hope you enjoy listening. Let's find out who today's guest is. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks again for signing in and listening to these very cool podcasts at the moment. It's been going really nicely. Been a bit quiet, but I got a few nice ones lined up, much like today. So, Overlanding from Home brings today a wonderful chap. A great story. Super excited to hear what's going on. His Instagram handle is Khaya on Wheels. Khaya means house in Zulu. And it's really, really exciting to chat. And I want to introduce Martin. Martin, is that right?
Close enough.
Just to get it right.
Yeah, it's
close enough. Yes, sorry. It makes it a bit interesting.
It's Martijn the Dutch way, but Martin is the easy version.
Martijn. Okay, Martijn van Der Put, which is the full details, but all those details will be put. All those details will be put down below for you to follow anyone that's around. So listen, Martijn, thank you very much. I'm really excited to hear about you because you've been doing some. You've kind of nailed the overlanding sustainability way on a different way that I think I've come across. There's been one other wonderful guy, Ferenc from Hungary, that has actually put together a way of trying to make money or still earn a living from a company while overlanding and being out of an office. And you've really nailed that in a completely different way. So let's get the ball rolling. I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk about your rig and stories and things like that. But you obviously moved. You told me it was the Eastern Cape, correct?
Yeah, I'm Dutch originally, but I moved to South Africa 15 years ago with my then partner and our children. And we moved to the Eastern Cape in South Africa, Port Elizabeth, where, we had a great life. And I loved my 4x4ing and the weekends and the Baviaans and the Transkei, all the beautiful places in that area. I've really explored extensively. But a long-term overland journey was something that I always dreamt of. And that started 2.5 years ago. In February 2018, I left. And I started driving without a destination, without a time limit. So no rush. Very slowly, actually, in a way where I feel I could sustain this instead of rushing through Africa, ticking all the boxes, and going from national park to national park, like unfortunately most people do it, or fortunately, I mean, that's just the way others do it. And I used to do the same thing. You drive long days to get somewhere. The getting somewhere became the real journey and not the destinations that you plan to go to. And that changed the whole dynamic of my journey over the last couple of years into more of a lifestyle instead of just a year off or a trip for a year or 6 months.
True. And I think I just want to compliment what you're saying is that when looking at your photos, there is no sense of urgency, and you capture what's happening at the time, which I think is really, really cool. And you're right, you've kind of got stuck in with the local communities, and you can see that, and you've really enjoyed the getting there and hanging out type of vibe instead of getting there to leave, which is unfortunately what most people tend to do.
Yeah, I think for me as well, the challenge of this financial part of a journey. I have a little bit of income that I secured through my previous businesses. It's not much, but a couple of $100 a month can take you a long way if you slow down. If you, my philosophy is not making more money, but actually reducing my need for money. So the cheaper I live, the wealthier I am. And then, I mean, at the moment, I'm living in Uganda on a well, what's it, 3,000 Rand, $150 a month, comfortably. It's just about making certain choices, and I don't go out for dinner. I don't indulge in too much alcohol, which is an expensive one. I believe in wild camping. I don't have to pay to stand in somebody's yard with a broken toilet and a leaky, crappy shower. I can just park it in the bush. It's all about changing your feeling of what is safe and what is not safe. And my experience is that it's a lot safer to just park it in the bush somewhere for the night than to stand in some overcrowded overland campsite where you get woken up at 5 a.m. in the morning because of your neighbors, and you pay $10 a night for it. So I've changed. I changed my way of what I need, you know, and I need to be safe and comfortable, but I've never had any negative experiences with people in Africa.
I think sorry to interrupt there. It's like most people have this perception. I mean, I did a Instagram live chat with a wonderful overlander from Kuwait. His name's Jamal, and you know, during the live chat, he had people asking questions that were, how safe is Africa? And they've heard this and they wondered about that. And, you know, people listen and say, everyone's seen what happened in Rwanda, 25 years ago. And yet to this day, it's still being brought up. And, you know, if anyone's been to Rwanda, it is like the most safest, coolest, chilled country ever. Kigali is as low-key as it gets. The streets are cleaner than they are in Cape Town. You get internet all over the place. So it's a very different concept of what perception is. And I think you're right. If you're hanging around in the hotspots, which is generally in your urban areas, you know, you need to be a little bit more mindful than when you're out in the bush, which is what you're doing. And I think something that you made a comment to me when we chatted a few weeks ago was very interesting, is that you do also do woodwork at certain places, which helps you, I would guess, either financially a little bit, or at least a good place to stay with a clean shower or something like that. You know, obviously in your vehicle's called Bertha, correct?
Right. Yeah. My daughter, who lives in Cape Town, a teenager, she named it Big Bertha, and that stuck. So it's not just a car for me, it's really my home. It's a little house on wheels, and I've equipped it and kitted it out as such. So I put up curtains, I painted it, I hung up photo frames. I made it into a very small home, but with comfort, and that includes for me having my tools. So I'm a carpenter or handyman, and I have solar and an inverter. So all my battery-operated tools, my jigsaw, grinder, drill, I can charge in my car. So anywhere I go, I have power tools to actually do things that I enjoy to do, and that's woodwork or fixing things and just general maintenance. And instead of going in at certain places and asking how much it is to stay, I go in with the idea of I have something to offer. I'm not just coming to pay as the guest. And I can do something you need that is worth more than my $5 or $10 a night. And that can create incredible situations, like Monkey Bay in Malawi. I stayed for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks they owed me money instead of that I had to pay. It was
lovely. But you know, I've got goosebumps because Marcin, that is so, it's gnarly, for lack of a better term, if you're a surfer. Now I completely, that appeals to me. And I in 1999 I hitchhiked America and Canada, and I used to stay in the youth hostels, but I used to work in them. And if you work for 3 hours a day, cleaning the rooms, mopping the floors, doing the dishes, it didn't matter. You get your bed that night for free. And I stayed in San Diego, for example, for 3 months. I got kicked out of a few B&Bs, out of a few hostels because of either being naughty or just too much booze. But it was appealing in the sense that I could work during the day, in the morning, get the cleaning and everything out the way, then go and work on the yachts and earn some money for food, and then do the same thing the next day. It was fantastic. So what you're doing is really appealing, and it's sustainable. You can keep doing it. I mean, with a good solar panel, charging your batteries, you can do pretty much anything, anywhere. And I think that's just a fantastic way to keep going. Now, let's just talk about Big Bertha quickly. She's a Toyota. What year is she? She looks like
she's an old lady. She's a 1986 Hilux #1.
Wow.
So she's a sturdy ride, but it's a customized built. There's only one of them in the world. There was a company called Reco Camper Vans in Limpopo in South Africa that built custom-made camper vans. It doesn't exist anymore, but I was lucky to find this vehicle in Cape Town, and I kitted it out. But it's an old car. So it's a sturdy ride. It's not always that comfortable compared to fancy rigs, new cars, but there's no electronics. I can fix it myself. I've been broken down in the middle of the bush, and you can find a piece of wire or bolt on the side of the road, and you can actually keep going. And I've, the interesting concept is that some people have shaken their heads and they look at your car and they're like, you can't go to Africa with that. You can't go to the Central Kalahari. And I like to prove them wrong. That you can't buy off insecurity. You could try and throw all your money at the fanciest, newest Land Cruiser with all the trimmings and the gadgets, but you're still going to get stuck like everybody else. You still have a broken axle or something else that will stop you in your tracks, and that will create another aspect of overlanding, which people try to avoid, but I actually feel is a part that really brings memories. It's the breakdowns and the people that help me, the moments that you think like, wow, what am I going to do? Where am I going to sleep tonight? You know what? We'll sleep right here on the side of the road. And those are really the highlights in the end, instead of flowing through Africa and having it so easy. That's great, but that's a holiday.
Correct.
Overlanding is about challenges, and it's about overcoming them and learning. I knew nothing about cars. Now I can fix my own car. If it doesn't start, I know what to do and how to eliminate the problems it could be, to find what the problem is. And I'm actually quite happy that I don't have a fancy brand new car, but an old lady that needs my attention and some TLC at times. Every big city is always a stop at some mechanic to fix something, but that's how I chose to do it. And you can travel Africa like that. I mean, as you know, there's people doing it in normal cars, people hitchhiking, people walking it. So it's really up to everybody who wants adventure to see how big they want it.
I completely agree with you. There's just so many people throw money at their vehicles, and they want certain comforts and things like that, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's got their own quirkiness. I've now bought a heated blanket that I plug into my vehicle for my rooftop tent because it's cold at night. It's winter. Why must I sleep cold? It doesn't make sense. So there's nothing wrong with having it. I think I actually say this every podcast. Is no good story ever started off with when I went to the kitchen to boil the water to boil the kettle for some water. I think it shows that guys like you and most overlanders, there shouldn't be a rush. And I think that's the difference with your vehicle. You're not going to push your vehicle overboard. You're going to choose an end destination, and the road will determine your speed, firstly, especially in Africa, because not every road is fantastic. But also, if you're in a place where you are, like now, there's no rush to get somewhere, because you are sustaining a living without having to prove a point in all the ticks and boxes that other people are trying to achieve when they do go overlanding.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't have that kind of budget as well. So for me, it was like, okay, either I go like most go, they go for a year, fancy car, all the trimmings, national park to national park. spending a lot of money on the way. And then overlanding is expensive and not for everybody. But I wanted to do it in another way, and that is by working my way through Africa, helping on a farm for 3 months, working in a backpackers, doing some maintenance here, reducing my financial need, slowing down so I don't need to put a lot of petrol in the car. I mean, it took me 2.5 years to get to Uganda, which other people do in 2 weeks.
Crazy.
Sometimes.
I mean, crazy on both sides. 2.5 years is already pretty hectic. I mean, looking at your vehicle, I'm looking at a photo here where it's in a workshop in Dar, and obviously it was either brake or diff related, but it's a great looking vehicle. You got lights all over the place. You got 2-3 windows, 2 on the side, 1 at the back, big window. You've got a high lift jack. Have you used a high lift jack before?
I have, but it wasn't working properly, so it was quite a challenge. But I had to get myself out of the salt pans at Makgadikgadi in Botswana, where I got stuck up to my sump, everything in black mud. So I had a good day of digging before I got myself out. One of those moments again.
Yes.
It's a camper van, so the roof goes up, and I've got put that most overlanders don't have, and I've met quite a few over the years, of course. And I used to have a rooftop tent myself, so it means packing in and packing out, and I just park it. I pop the roof, which is 1 minute, and I'm basically done. And it sleeps 3 people, a full double bed, a full single bed. It's got a kitchen. I've got a nice fridge, freezer. My inverter provides me with all the electricity I need. So it's, except for bathroom facilities, it has everything that a normal house would offer me as well. It's just small. And it's quite comfortable
minimalism
to live in a shoebox. Actually,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but minimalism is definitely becoming a big thing, and it is for me. I mean, every 6 months I go through my vehicle, and I'm going, did I use it? No. Do I need it? So there might be that one time that I do need it. Then I will take it. But I sit sometimes chatting with some people that reach out to me directly about packing their vehicles and organizing it. And the one guy said, no, he's going away for a month and he wants to take 4.5 kg gas bottles. And I said, why do you want 3? I said, how many times do you boil water? Oh, maybe 3 times a day. Okay, so are you going to do fires at night or cook on a gas? No, I'll probably do mostly fires. I said, there alone, you're going to use 1 gas bottle in 2 months. So, and it just goes to show that when you realize what you need and what you don't need, it's actually a nice relief to just give it away. I mean, how many T-shirts can we wear at once? Yeah.
Very true. Very true. If you have the space, you bring a lot more than you sometimes need. But I quite enjoy the fact that I have a similar setup as a normal house. I have come very handy over the years on different moments, even helping others out that just need that one bolt and that one nut, and you have it. So I never skimped on all the extras, the spare water pump, the spare fuel filters, and all the bits and pieces. So actually you can do your maintenance yourself. Or in a garage, you can provide all the parts for people to fix your car.
Besides your special tools, obviously you've just got normal general tools that are used for mechanics and things like that. Do you how many big spare parts do you generally carry?
I have everything to service the car, and extra fuel pump, water pump. So what I did before I left, I actually replaced everything I could, and the spares that were still working, I kept as extras. So I put everything new in, and then I kept what came off the car and brought with me as spares. And that, have come in quite handy. I mean, fan belts, things like that, the obvious. to be able to do the small stuff. And that's basically it. I mean, the cool thing about this kind of car is that everywhere in Africa, in the smallest village, they know how to fix it. It's a Hilux without electronics, so it can be fixed everywhere. And yeah, that is actually a huge advantage if I compare it to new cars with computers and electric systems. If you break down and you have a problem, you need a laptop.
Not going to happen.
I mean, try and find that when you're somewhere in the middle of Zambia. No, then you need to wait for 2 days for a truck to come and pick you up. And I've seen it. I've seen people with their brand new cars on a flatbed being towed back to Lusaka, losing a week of their short holiday already, just because they have a car that needs so much attention when something goes wrong. So I strongly believe in avoiding that kind of risk and rather have a little bit of an older car without all that risk if you really want to go into far off places. And yeah, I always did the Central Kalahari, where most say you need satellite phones and at least 2 cars. I went by myself and spent a week there. And yeah, if I broke down, I would have broken down, but I knew that I could survive for a week by bringing enough water and food and spare parts that when somebody would find me, I would be fine again. So yeah, it's the preparation. A big part is a mental thing as well, and being ready for what some call disaster or a huge setback. It can be actually the best part of your journey. Those moments when you're so challenged that you don't know what to do and that you have to find help and rely on the kindness of strangers and people that will help you. Everywhere in Africa, you will be helped. People come out of the bushes.
I completely agree with you.
Around,
I've never ever been let down anywhere. In fact, more in the city areas in South Africa than I have out in the bush. And I've been very fortunate and very lucky. But I also, I drive a Defender 110. I've got a 2.4 Ford motor in there, which is standard. So it's a fairly simplistic engine to fix, maybe not as simple as yours, but a lot simpler than some of these other ones that are out there. And I had a guy put petrol in my diesel on the way home from my humanitarian work last year. So I know all about being stuck on the side of the road with no one around and just being able to figure it out. It was pretty awesome. It's obviously not a great experience at the time. But when you sit back and you look at it now, you can just go, you know what? What did I learn? I learned a new way to fix my engine and put diesel back in, without there being too much drama. So I think you're right. All of those experiences, which is what overlanding is about. It's not the Chinese climbing off a bus, taking a photo, getting back on, and moving to the next town. And I think people that rush it shouldn't do it. I've been having a chat to another guy that I did a podcast with from Oman, and he said to me, he needs to look at how far he can go. And I said, no, look at your timelines. You don't rush it. If you do 400 kilometers in a day, count your blessings. It took us 9.5 hours to do 220 kilometers last year because the road was so bad. So, I know what it's like with the roads in Africa. People look at it and they go, oh, but it's only 220 kilometers. You can do that in 2 hours. I'm like, no, dude, no. Exactly.
Yeah, you miss so much on the way as well. I mean, people rush through Africa from park to park, but there's so much in between. And the remote areas where there's maybe no national parks to go to, but there's natural wild wilderness and vegetation and animals. And I mean, the local communities, I really like the part of the people of Africa as well, and not just the national parks to see the next big five game. I mean, I love that as well, but that comes with the price tag as well. That's park fees and conservation fees.
Easy. I mean, just to go to Ngorongoro or one of the Kenyan national parks, you're looking at $80 a person as a foreigner. As a local, you pay next to nothing, but as a foreigner, they target us, which really makes me angry because, you know, it should be equal for all, but no, they just believe in making it hectic. I mean, for me to go with my wife and my daughter, who at the time was 3, into Old Pajetta National Private Reserve was $80, and that's a rate set by the government. And that was $80 per person. Sorry.
And that's still cheap. Yeah. I mean the Serengeti, Ngorongoro Crater, just the car permit is $285, I think, to drive your own foreign licensed car into the Serengeti, and then you haven't even camped, and you haven't paid conservation fees or anything. So you're looking at, I mean, I understand why they do it, because it looks like they discriminate for the self-drive overlanders. I mean, I parked my car in Arusha, and I got onto a shared safari vehicle with an operator that did it so much cheaper than I could have done it myself. And I went through the parks like that, not with my own car. I left that, and I found a cheaper option as much as I could.
Yes.
Because I really wanted to see those parks. So you sometimes have to adapt a little bit and let go of the idea, I need my car, I want to do it myself. Well, then bring your gold.
Trade it off.
And your diamonds, because it's going to cost you. Yeah. But otherwise, sometimes you just need to, like Zanzibar. Leave your car in Dar es Salaam, go to Zanzibar, spend a week, come back. Some people insist on having their car and they want to ship it, and they go through all these troubles and massive costs just because they can't let go of the idea that sometimes you need to let go of your car.
Yeah,
and
you know,
just step away
I think
from it
I think it goes back to our discussion or our comments earlier about people not able to let go. You know, they have to carry all those special things. I mean, I was thinking about it literally this morning, not knowing I was going to have this chat with you, but when I go on my humanitarian work and we go between places, I carry 2 lenses, which is a close 10 to 18 lens, and I carry I think it's a 300 to 600 lens. That's it. I don't need special lenses in between. I don't need anything else. That's all I carry. And it just makes close or far, you know, I don't need to carry 5 different lenses, which makes me then have a special Pelican or one of those other Volt, you know, cases, because it's all space. You know, for me, I have a lot less space than what you have, a lot less. So it's crazy, man. I see some people that just go mad when they just walk through a camping shop and I'll have this, I'll have 2 of those, I'll have 1 of those. How many pots do you need to cook in?
Yeah, well, a good cast iron black pot on the fire can take you anywhere. You can bake and fry and do whatever you want with that. But yeah, it's tempting. The gadgets are being is a part of the overlanding lifestyle, especially in South Africa. I think Australia is very similar, and the States, where there's so many gadgets, there's so many cool things that can make life a little bit easier, and they do. I used to love it as well. But it didn't make sense anymore doing it as I'm doing now, where I've slowed down, where it's more about the journey than the destination. And there's no real end goal, you know. I mean, Namibia, I think I've circled it 3 times, not because I wanted to, but because I just randomly decided, you know what, let me go back to Windhoek for a little bit. And then I went back there, and you just change your plan on the way. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if you sleep, you got your eyes closed. So wherever you are, it doesn't really change the way you sleep. It's just your own illusion of I needed to be there. Otherwise, we don't make our time frame. And that pressure, I feel, takes away a lot from the overlanding
I do agree.
experience.
And, I think you are very fortunate where you don't have the time limitations that most of us do. You know, obviously for you, can you hear me? Oh,
I know.
So
yeah,
it does help,
I'm
and I
very
think
fortunate.
so which countries have you traveled? Obviously, Namibia, you've done Botswana. Have you done up north around the Delta in Botswana and some of them?
Yeah, I started at Port Elizabeth, first the Transkei, the Wild Coast in South Africa, and along the Western Cape up to a big event that I always go to, Africa Burn. So I spent 10 days there. Then I went into Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, which I really enjoyed actually. Unfortunately, now it's a bit challenging, but even then, people were advising me, don't go to Zimbabwe. It's not safe. And I spent, I think 10 weeks there. I've not experienced one moment of all of those stories that people throw at you because 10 years ago they had to pay some police officer a bribe. There's none of that. Yeah. Really, people are warm and welcoming. I love Zimbabwe. And most overlanders avoid it because of the stories they've heard. Don't believe the stories. Listen to them, take it serious, but make up your own mind. And I went into Zambia, then Malawi, back to Zambia, and into Tanzania.
Are you going to
Rwanda,
settle in Uganda? Because I know you've been there for a bit, and you commented to me the other day that you may invest a little bit there. I mean, is it something that you're taking a little bit more seriously?
Well, yeah, I mean, looking at the options I have as well, I left South Africa.
Okay.
I don't feel that's my home anymore. It's where I used to live. But the current situation, borders being closed, the fear, the insecurity of what the future is bringing, and maybe the rest of the world is going on with life and booking holidays to France. Like my family in Holland, their life is gone on as if nothing happened. But in Africa, we will have a lot more time. We need a lot more time to actually deal with this crisis. Uganda's on lockdown. There's a curfew. The borders are closed. I don't see a change very soon. And if it does, do I want to put myself through all that insecurity and stress of traveling in a time when people are not that welcoming to foreigners and strangers? Unfortunately, that's a reality at the moment as well. Every Mzungu, every white person brings corona. That's the idea people have. It's the outsiders. So if you travel and you pass through a village and people are shooing you away, then it doesn't feel right. It's not a good time to consider overlanding, in my opinion. It's taking a risk that I don't want to take. So therefore, the best I can do is to stay put for a while and to maybe give it a year and see what happens. If I can drive back to South Africa, my initial plan was to drive to Europe and to make it to Europe one day. But I don't know if that's possible with this situation and what the future is giving us. Everything is unsure. So maybe settling down and creating a little home for myself very cheaply could give me
I
what
think
I
this
need
whole thing
is
definitely going to calm down. I know that it's been commented to me that in February the borders will open comfortably from South Africa, and then when that happens, most of the bordering countries it'll be one of two things. They're going to go and do the same, or they're going to go, hang on, there's too many cases in South Africa, we're going to keep our borders closed, like Namibia and Botswana. And I read a brief article the other day where Namibia and Botswana, I think Botswana, but Namibia are allowing certain flights in from Europe. So not from South Africa, they're allowing it direct. Yeah. Which means, if you come from SA, it's a flag. That can't work. But it is definitely going to lighten up, and I think people are going to chill. And who wants to live in cities all the time anyway? I mean, when you've been out in the bush and you've managed to see the elephants walking past you and hear the lions roaring, like what sounds like 2 meters away, but it's 5 kilometers. It makes a very different perspective about life. And when I used to have a Golf 6 TSI before I got the Defender, my lifestyle has completely changed just because of what I'm doing now with overlanding. Completely changed. I'm not in a rush to get anywhere anymore. I'm a lot more relaxed when I get there. I don't get there and having to rush and get things organized and done. And I think that makes a huge difference Just in the sense that living in a city, you literally are in a rush. When you're out where you are, there is no big rush. As long as you got water, you got some food, and you can cook, and you're warm at night. And obviously, being warm and dry is a big deal, and you definitely have that. And you get torrential rains in Uganda, where it becomes a very different level. I think people need that. And if they can do similar to what you're doing, and I think you can definitely educate people by saying, go and give back to the community by investing in them. And that's what they see, which is why you're able to do the woodwork where you go, because not many people can rock up with the cordless tools that you have. I mean, I understand that, because during the first lockdown, I went and bought a whole bunch of cordless tools, a circular saw, a grinder, a better jigsaw, all cordless, because it just makes so much more sense.
Yeah, and it gives you new opportunities. I mean, yeah, it's easy to spend money. Let's get real. That's what we.
Yeah. I'm listening. It's true. Yeah, I'm listening. It's true.
Are you still there? Yeah. Sorry. It's easy to spend money, and a lot of people say we're supporting the local community, and I get that, but it also creates the ugly side of what we experience in Africa, where children follow the car screaming sweets. Give me money is English they know. Because people do stop and give money and sweets. And I would really, just as a side note, but discourage any overlander to do that. It ruins, it creates beggars. It creates people, no, but it's so nice for the children. It's not nice for the children. They didn't grow up in your hometown. They're not raised with sweets and McDonald's. They have a different kind of reality. So for you to come and spoil their reality with your idea of what children need, it actually damages more than you do good. And rather stop and talk and help people without that money aspect. It's so easy to give money, or to all these stories about some Zimbabwean or Malawian kids that you're going to sponsor for their schooling for the next 3 years. It's all great and well meant, but it doesn't make any real difference. It just creates a lot of youngsters that are overeducated in a country where there's no jobs, expecting jobs. It doesn't empower them. It just creates more of what I see in Africa, and these outsiders dictating what people need to be happy, while often they themselves don't really find happiness in all that material stuff. So, yeah, I've experienced that in many places in Africa, the ugliness of what tourism and overlanding can bring, where money is seemingly the only thing you can offer. And you have more to offer than that. You can help people with many different things just by sharing your knowledge and your experiences, by linking them to somebody else, to using your network, to look beyond that easy fix of here's some money. That I believe
it doesn't really
help anybody.
I mean, I do humanitarian work, and I've had people, I wouldn't say challenge me, because they know what I do, but I've had some people saying, oh, but this stop giving aid into Africa, and stop giving donations and that, and I actually stopped the one lady, and I said, you're getting this all wrong. Africa needs the help and the support, but not the way that some people are doing it. And it needs to be governed in a way where it's not degrading. And a simple, silly one is, for example, sweets. These kids don't grow up eating sweets all the time. So the sugar that hits their body, if there's too many people that go past, the sugar starts eating the teeth, because they don't have the same scenarios than what we do. And it's a silly example, but it's a relevant one when it comes to support in what these kids need. I obviously give eyeglasses to kids, because it helps them and it empowers them to do things and have an equal chance where other kids or parents don't have. And I think it's, to me, it's important. It's not the end and be all, but it's very, very important. My family is way much more important than this. But I have a huge stance exactly where you are, where don't just rush off and give. Understand community, know what you're dealing with, recognize that you're in a rural area in the middle of Botswana. Throwing sweets out of a window is not appealing at all. And they then throw the packet not in the bin, they throw the packet, the wrapper somewhere else, and it blows around and it creates, anyway, we're getting way off the subject. Let's change this up a bit. So what fridge do you have in your camper? What size fridge is it?
It's a National Luna. It's a big size. It's an old one. It came with the car when I bought it. So I think it's at least 15 years old. But it's, quite a substantial size, actually. Fridge-freezer combination. It's working. It stopped working several times, but you'll find some guy in Arusha, in Lilongwe, that will fix it and bypass the thermostat and put an extra button on it, and it works again. So, I actually ordered all the parts from South Africa, spending a lot of money, and then it finally arrived by DHL. And this guy, he just bypassed that whole system with his African way of mechanics. And it works for I haven't even used that new thermostat. It was a loss, total waste of my money, actually. So luckily he fixed it. Some other things need original parts, obviously. But I've got the comfort of cold storage.
Okay. And then
food and drinks,
tires. What are you running on the tires at the moment? They look pretty. They look pretty standard. They look quite big, actually. What are they?
They at the moment are a mix of different brands, because it's difficult to find. I used to have BF Goodrich and Cooper tires on previous vehicles, which were built for, like, let's go off-roading, let's take different tracks and go for the challenge. This is my house. This is all I have. I don't have a home anymore to return to. Often people ask me, so when are you going home? And I'm like, but I am home. This is my home, wherever I'm at. But the tires, are difficult to come by in this part of Africa, and they're very expensive. So you need to go to big cities to find diversity. So at the moment, I've got, I think, 4 different brands, 4 different tires, patched up on the inside with glue and patches. I'm actually in need of some good tires whenever I get to Kampala, and that offers me the choice of finding the best tires I can get.
And I think for you don't need that really hardcore mud terrains. I think a decent all-terrain would be nice, but even still, you're not exactly going crazy off-roading. Is the vehicle 4x4 or is it a 2x4?
Yeah. No, it's 4x4. One of the gadgets that I really am happy I invested in, I've got an ARB compressor built into the engine bay. So I can pump my own tires. I can use it to blow out little parts if I'm fixing things, to get dust out of it, even to clean your car from the inside with all the dust. And that was quite an expensive investment. I think it was about 7,000-8,000 rand, if I recall properly. But it was very, very worth it to have my own compressor and not some little hand pump or foot pump, but just to get off sandy roads where I drop my tire pressure, obviously, and to get back to tarmac and to pump my tires comfortably, to help other people on the side of the road sometimes when they have a flat tire. That's a gadget I would strongly recommend.
I do agree. And I mean, not only does it serve your tires, but the roads too, especially on the dirt roads when they're too hard. So tell me, and I could carry on talking to you for like the next hour, but I think we need to try and square off here. Tell me,
that's all right.
What is your best item that you use on your vehicle? What is like the one that you like that you go besides the compressor, unless it is the compressor, that you would go, this for me makes everything better?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, but it comes down to actually a couple of more things that don't belong to the car. But a good head torch that you can use both your hands is invaluable to me. A good Leatherman to have next to all your tools in your whole toolbox, but just a Leatherman to have with you for immediate small bits and pieces. I think those are the best things that I wouldn't want to go without. And the rest, you can always make a plan and find it somewhere. But yeah, for the car, I think the compressor is a big win. I've had many moments that I feel like, oh, I'm so happy I have that thing and I can pump my tires, and with a slow puncture that I couldn't find where it was, and you can just pump your tire again, no rush to find somebody to fix it. I've driven around for months with a slow puncture. Just pumping it every day a bit.
That would grind me. I couldn't do that. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not that relaxed. I would definitely need to have it sorted out.
Yeah, I mean, what is the difference really? It's only in your mind that it makes a difference, because the car still drives if you pump it every day. So effectively, the reality is still the same. It's just what you want to get out of it or how you feel comfortable. And I agree with you, but over the last couple of years, I've learned to let that go, because it never works like I want it to work. And I only make things difficult on me. You become challenging to the local community where you want things as you want it. And to let it go more and more has actually brought me a lot more joy in my journey.
And tell me, Martin, the best and worst moments that you've had since you've left SA. I mean, has there been something that stands out where you're going, well, this is this was an outstanding memory for me, or this was, I wish this day never happened memory for me?
Let's start with the more challenging moments. I guess that was in Zimbabwe, Chimanimani, on the east side with the border of Mozambique. My handbrake wasn't working, which is common on these old Hiluxes. And I just parked it for a moment and I went around the car to get inside on the side to grab something from the back. And that was the moment when my car started rolling. And I was away from the steering wheel of the brakes, and it was a full ravine, 50 meters, 100 meters down the cliff. So that gave me the biggest scare. Luckily, I ran around, jumped in, and while it was creating momentum, flying down the mountain, I braked it just in time. Otherwise, I would have lost it all. So that was one of those moments. And I think one of the highlights was in Zimbabwe, Manapools, where I got very close with an elephant. In a magical way, where it came to my car and it sniffed around the car, and I was standing inside, and maybe 10 centimeters, just mosquito mesh separated us, and it put up its trunk and it sniffed through the mesh and it smelled me, and then it kindly turned away and walked off. That was quite a special moment that I will never forget.
You, elephants are very close to me. I love elephants. In fact, I love pretty much all the animals, but the tranquility of an elephant is just I can never ever get tired of it. I mean, I've driven past the elephants. We had elephants walk past our tent in a lovely campsite north of Maun called Kaziikini. It must have been, I mean, how it didn't touch my vehicle, I don't know, but it was that close. We saw the spur prints in the morning. Them and baobab trees, I don't know what it is. Baobab trees just completely calm me down. It's weird. I mean, they just have this mass. I don't know if it's because they both have this just complete mass of calmness and tranquility. I don't know what it is, but I firmly believe what you're saying, and I love what you're doing. Is there anything that you make that you can sell to people? I mean, I see you're doing, I think, something on a bit of clothes and a bit of woodwork stuff. Is there anything on the road that if someone was to reach out to you, I don't know, that would like something from Uganda made by you that you could ship out, or is it more hands-on when it happens?
Yeah, I've let go of that a little bit. But another piece of advice, I used to, now it stopped a little bit, but I used to sometimes fly in and out. So I see my children. I've got grown children, one in Holland, one in South Africa. So every 3 months I would take a break, leave my car somewhere, fly back to South Africa, to Europe. And then I always considered, where am I going next? So Tanzania is the next country. Cool. So I had stickers designed and printed, and I sold them on the road while I was traveling. So you arrive at a lodge, and I show my stickers with I love Botswana,
Yes.
or I love Tanzania, whatever. And I would exchange that for a free stay and food at times. So I was always thinking about, what can I do on the road to create a little bit of income, instead of just doing carpentry work or maintenance work. But what can I offer that is not there? And I like my stickers. I like to have a little souvenir of a place I've been to, and I add them to the collection on my car, which is quite substantial. And these were difficult to find. Everywhere I went, do you have stickers? No, we don't. But you have badges, you have fridge magnets, you have all kinds of stuff, but you don't have stickers. So there's a little gap in the market that I just filled. And up to the easiness of arriving in Arusha, going to the biggest souvenir shop in town, and they bought for $1,000.
Wow.
They bought all the stickers I had. So I made $600 in half an hour's of work, just because I planned for what do they need, what I can provide, coming from where I come from. And so I used that throughout the last years to actually add a little bit of cash to my budget. And it's very enjoyable. You meet different people, you have a different perspective. You're not the tourist anymore. You actually have something to offer.
I think you need to revive the sticker business, because getting a good sticker is sometimes very hard to find.
Yeah, I know. So I designed some awesome ones, and but it comes with starting a little website again and doing marketing, and that is something at this stage I'm really not too interested in, to start a business again. I think I've done that multiple times enough in my life that for now I choose not to do it. But I've got a nice range of designs that I would even freely want to share with people so they can print them themselves.
I think what I'll do is I'll chat with you and put that link down below somewhere. And if it's possible, people can just reach out to you and ask questions. I've seen those stickers. I think they are fantastic. I definitely would love some really good ones. So I'm definitely going to keep in touch and see if there's something that we can do. But listen, Martijn, thank you very, very much for this. I'm in awe that you're in Uganda. It's a beautiful country. It's green. It's got amazing wildlife, and the people are superb. So I think you've built yourself a nice little local community there that trust you, and vice versa. And I think if you keep doing what you're doing, I see great things happening. Well done. Definitely keep in touch, and folks, please follow his handle. I'll put it down below. Just enjoy listening to this, and let's keep in touch. I really appreciate it, Martijn. Thanks very much, man.